that's working. Usually my playing cards do all that technical stuff, but they are social distancing at the moment. Welcome to home baking with me, the Queen of Hearts. I've had such a craving for jam tarts, and my usual cook, the Duchess, is self-isolating at the moment, so I've had to do it all myself. Luckily, it's very simple to make. You could make some at home too. Let's see what ingredients we need. Firstly, we need 200 grams of flour. I've used plain flour, but you can use self-raising flour too, of course. And 100 grams of butter. Here, I've used dairy-free spread, but you can use real butter if you like. A top tip about the butter: to make your pastry the flakiest, crumbliest, perfect pastry, your butter needs to be very cold, straight from the fridge. None of this room temperature malarkey. You can cut it into cubes and add a pinch of salt to the flour. You're going to pop them both into a bowl like this, and then using your fingers, you're going to make the mixture into a breadcrumb consistency. Let me show you. So we're going to rub, rub, rub. Again, remember that tip about the butter being nice and cold. We don't want it to get too warm. So you're going to lightly play with it with your fingers like this, rubbing in. So we're not using all our hands to warm that butter up. We need it to be the bestest pastry for my jam tarts. Lovely. So we're going to crumble it, as you can see there, into a breadcrumb formation. Can you see? Just like this, so it's all mixed in together. Lovely, nice and simple. Now, very slowly, we're going to add a little bit of water to form a dough. So just a small bit at a time, like a tablespoon at a time, a little bit of water. And then you're going to mix that into a dough. I'm going to get nice and messy now. My hands in here, this is exactly why I get other people to make it for me. Goodness me. So you can see it's coming together into a dough like this. I'm going to just get the rest of it in there like that. Might need a tiny little bit more water. La la la. Like to sing as I cook. Yes, I'm the Queen of Hearts, and I like my roses red. Yes, I'm the Queen of Hearts, and I say off with your head. Now I formed that into a bit of a dough there, as you can see. I'm going to wrap that up, squeeze it together. It might be a bit crumbly, but like I say, that just makes a really nice pastry. Brush off my hands in there for a second. I'm going to wrap that up in cling film, or you can use a plastic-free alternative, which would be better. And we're going to put that in the fridge to chill for 30 minutes. Now, of course, if you're short on time, you can skip this step. But remember what I said about the butter being nice and cold. Let me just wash my hands very quickly. Oh, I'm the Queen of Hearts, and I say off with your head. Oh, lovely, there we go. Next step, moving on. So, once our pastry has come out of the fridge 30 minutes later, here's one I made earlier. We're going to unwrap it with a bit of flour. That over there. Maybe reuse that, that'll be a good idea. I'm going to flour my surface. Lovely, a bit on my rolling pin. And we're going to roll out our nice chilled pastry. Now, because it has that nice crumbly texture, it will break apart and fall apart, but you can just push it in with your fingers like I'm doing here. And flatten it down, trying to keep it nice and cold still. So I'm just going to bring it in like this. And flatten, flatten, flatten. Lovely. I made some jam tarts on a summer's day, but the Knave of Hearts took them quite away. I hope the Knave of Hearts isn't around today. If you see him, boys and girls, you should shout out to me, please. I'm sure Knave of Hearts might be around here somewhere. Right. Once you've got it to a thickness of about a pound coin, or a bit smaller, you don't want it too thin or it will break. You don't want it too thick or the pastry won't cook very nice. Might still be a bit raw, so a nice, just under a pound's worth. There we go. Now I'm going to take my cutter. Now I like to use the bubbly edge around there, a bit like a flower. But it's got a straight edge, you can use either. And I'm going to press down, make our shape. There we go. Just like this. And we're going to pop that into a pre-greased muffin or fairy cake tray. We'll pop that in like that. There we go, I'm going to make a few more on here while I can. Press down. Now jam tarts are simply my favourite, and I like to take some when I go to the Mad Hatter's tea party. But of course at the moment we can't go to any tea parties. So that's fine with me. It means I get to eat all the jam tarts by myself. I might share some. Goodness me, can you hear that, boys and girls? I think my neighbours are drilling. Off with their heads! Off with their heads! Don't they know I'm doing a home baking tutorial? Goodness, right. I'm going to make 4 for now, just for the sake of this video. I do have more pastry left over, and it should be enough to make fill these ones and another one. Goodness, they're being loud, aren't they? And then we're going to take your favourite jam. Now, my favourite jams, I have some homemade strawberry jam, and I have some homemade plum and damson jam that I made last autumn from the fruit in my garden. It smells delicious. So, boys and girls, you can see that here like this. I'm going to pop my rolling pin underneath. There we go, so you can see. We're going to get a teaspoon and take out a little teaspoon of jam. Not too much. And the reason we say not too much is because in the oven, when it gets very hot, we don't want it to overspill and burn all the edges. So just a teaspoon enough. I'm going to put 1 in there. I'm going to put 1 in the other side. And then I'm going to use the strawberry jam. I don't normally mix my spoons in my different jams, but as you can see, this one is nearly empty. It's probably just going to use it all up on these, probably just on these 2, to be honest. Pop that in there. Oh, this is delicious. Definitely perfect for a tea party by myself. There we go. Pop those on there, pop those back on there. Right, and there you have it. Nice and simple jam tarts. We're going to pop those in the oven. You might need a grown-up for this bit, boys and girls. In the oven on 180 degrees, that's gas mark 4, for approximately 20 to 25 minutes. Keep an eye on them though, make sure they don't burn. And then you come out. When they come out, very important to add, the jam gets hot. Leave it to cool down before you eat it. And then you have delicious jam tarts to have for your own tea party. Thank you for joining.